Yeah, Pallavi, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Allow all the students, sir.
Yeah.
Shall we, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
A warm evening. A warm evening to present dignitaries, students, and SIG staff. I, Mrs. Pallavi, welcome you all for today's webinar on recent trends in artificial intelligence and career opportunities. To start with, I would like to welcome Dr. T.P. Singh, Director of Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics. Sir has more than 22 years of vast experience in specialized areas like geointelligence, machine learning, special database management, big data, spatial modeling and analytics, environmental and resource management. Sir has completed his doctorate from IIRS and MS from Paris and Marie Curie University, Paris. He is chairman of Indian Society Geomatics Pune chapter and secretary of Indian Society of Remote Sensing Pune chapter. He has been active consultant of JICA. He has acted as reviewer and referee in the field of GIS. Almost 20 national and international projects have been completed in different fields of natural resource management, irrigation infrastructure, agriculture, laser technology, climate change, utility and facility management, and many are ongoing. He has published many papers, chapters in books and books. He has achieved many awards and recognition in the field of geospatial technology. I request Dr. T.P. Singh to deliver a welcome note for today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you for this nice introduction. Mr. Neeraj Lunawat, who is the entrepreneur and young dynamic entrepreneur, in fact, I can say, for in artificial intelligence area. Dr. Vidya Patkar, Deputy Director, Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics. Dr. Rajesh Dhumal, Professor in Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics. It is my privilege that I am speaking on this very apt topic, the current trend of artificial intelligence and career opportunity, because that it is a very important to understand where we are and what is going to be in the future in artificial intelligence. If you see that that institute, Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics, has started earlier with that vision of master in geoinformatics, and later on when that the curriculum development has started after 2010, 2012, then that we started to incorporate that how to incorporate artificial intelligence kind of a subject in geoinformatics program. And we worked on this, then that we started data science, which is that the one of the very important topic for the current trends, that how you can analyze data, how you can extract that information which is not in the data set directly. So we have incorporated that the Master of Science in Data Science, where that artificial intelligence play a very important role, machine learning play a very important role. If you'll see that the Indian scenario, that in 2018, Government of India, in fact, the NITI Aayog has come up to the policy of artificial intelligence. What is that how that we are going to be go ahead. So they have come up with the roadmap of artificial intelligence, because that if you look the market size of artificial intelligence in India, only in India it is almost $7.8 billion market size is over there, and which has that intervention in not only computer science, but it has that intervention in the all different domains. If we'll talk about agriculture, if you see on that natural resource management, medical, medicine, as well as that going towards journalism, which is that the humanities. So that it has that the very wide spectrum from the science to humanities to that journalism. Anywhere that we are seeing that use of artificial intelligence and then machine learning and the deep learning algorithm to extract the information. Because that we have realized and we have seen that in the last decade the growth of artificial intelligence was only the 9%, but that suddenly it has jumped and it has come up and it was expecting that the CGIAR of artificial intelligence is around 27% growth, and the market size is going to be increased from 22 to 27, which is that 7.8 billion. It may be going to 9.4 billion dollar market size in India. So that is a huge chunk of a market size, which require a lot of professionals to work on this. If you'll see that the total around 1,09,000 professionals are working in artificial intelligence area, which is around 20% growth. If we'll see, look back, that previous 90,000 professionals were working in artificial intelligence, and it has come up 20% growth directly. So that is enormous growth, which is coming that 20%. And it is expecting that this growth is the continue and it is going to be increased. That's also attracted a lot of say the financial thing in artificial intelligence, where that while you are going to be entering in this area or in this domain, that people they are earning around 3 to 5 lakhs, but that middle level goes to 17 lakh to 25 lakhs, and then higher level goes to 50 lakhs and onwards. That is that quite decent package which that the people are getting while I'm talking about the career in artificial intelligence. If you look on that, not only the career, if you'll see that the entrepreneurship, almost that $149 million value of entrepreneurship is existing in India. Those are working in only artificial intelligence, and its growth is going to be a very huge, because Government of India policy has been changed on this, and they are very open for artificial intelligence, utilization of artificial intelligence. Current policy of NITI Aayog, not only that for artificial intelligence, but if you look on another science policy like that, the very recently geoinformatic policy was released in 2021, that also that artificial intelligence also play a very important role to how to gather information, how to extract information, and how you are going to be predict a certain things in natural resource management. Coming to the robotic and engineering, it is very much required nowadays. If you want to be on pace of the global trend of artificial intelligence, that the use of new technology. So I hope all of you are going to be learn many things from that. Our very young and dynamic this entrepreneur, Mr. Neeraj Lunawat, so that he is going to be explain you that insight of artificial intelligence, how to start that entrepreneurship. So I again welcome Mr. Neeraj Lunawat for this session, and I hope this session is going to be very much exciting to all of our audience. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for warm welcome note. Since artificial intelligence is an increasingly widespread and growing form of technology, professionals who specialize in AI are needed now more than ever. The good news is that the AI professional field is full of different career opportunities. which means you can take on different roles and responsibilities depending upon the position, your experience, and your interests. On this, I am now going to introduce our today's guest, Mr. Neeraj Lunawat. Mr. Neeraj is founder at AI India Innovation Center, a Pune-based company that specializes in computer vision, machine learning, deep learning, and artificial intelligence. He is an accomplished computer visionary and a machine learning engineer. Mr. Neeraj is also running more than 50,000 AI India community, where he is principal author for artificial intelligence. He has done research in COEP on computer vision, ML algorithm, and satellite image. He is a computer vision expert and executed several successful AI and ML projects. Mr. Neeraj has worked on various types of projects, including face mask detection, social distancing identification, object recognition, medical image processing, face recognition, invoice OCR, NLP-based entity recognition. Such an eminent personality is with us today to share his experience and knowledge with us. Again, I welcome to Mr. Neeraj and hand over this session to him. Hand over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Pallavi ma'am. And let me start with my slides. Okay, so we have. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, so we are going to today discuss here about recent trends in artificial intelligence and what are the career opportunities we have in this field. And I would like to take this session more or practical oriented and very friendly. So I'll be sharing some of the hacks, how to get the interview calls, how to find the perfect career opportunity for you, and where do you fit. So being in the college or say being in the student life, it's quite hard, or you have very less idea sometimes that where you will be fitting, or it is challenging to find a good opportunity for you, challenging to find a good career start. And nowadays things are completely changing. I mean, you see AI, the way research is happening in AI, the way innovations are coming day by day, things are completely getting changed. Okay, before say you said 3 to 4 years, uh, the field was not that much evolved or was not that much developed. But experts says AI is still getting developed. AI is still getting AI is still getting out of the box, and things are things are getting settled. Things are getting settling up slowly here. So we have question protocol. Anyone can ask question at any time, and any time is a perfect time for asking the question. Well, special thanks to Vidya ma'am, Dr. Rajesh Dumal sir, and Dr. TP Singh for arranging this talk here. And thanks to you, all Symbiosis people, for giving me this opportunity. It's my honor or privilege, I say, to share thoughts about AI. And well, let's start with today's discussion timeline. We are going to discuss some of the trends in field, how to learn the AI, how you can grasp the skill, and
Okay.
down the line.
Sorry for interruption. If you can make it in a presentation mode, no, so that it would be
Yeah.
better.
Okay. Okay. And at the end, I'll be sharing some of the opportunities in AI and some of the cool tools which are industry people are using. Okay. So you see in this in this photo, in this graph, you see how the things are changing. Okay, in the healthcare sector, in the communication, in the banking sector, how the industry started accepting AI revolution. And the moment you see AI is creating new job opportunities, new different types of roles are coming. uh, I mean, it's sometimes like is the first question. How do I, how do I, how do I get this? I mean, how do I catch this right? Okay, so it's quite challenging, and think AI is too much complex. The field requires a lot many understanding of lot many domains. You need to understand statistics, you need to understand the mathematical part, you need to understand the algorithms, you need to know at least one programming language, and that's how you can create something out of it. So over to you. I'm considering that you most of you know the basics of AI, correct? You guys are aware of what is AI and what are the things are in this field, correct? Or I just cover the basics of AI in say short span of time, and afterward we can move towards the career opportunities.
You can
Uh,
move towards career opportunities, Neeraj.
Career opportunities, or should I just cover up what are the basics or
Yeah, two,
just
three slides you can cover.
okay, all right. So most of you might know what is AI. Can anyone tell me from the student audience, like what do you think? What is AI? How things are? Uh, what is machine learning, and how do you differentiate deep learning from the machine learning and all?
I think participant can raise your hand so that we unmute you.
Yeah, anyone would like to give a try? Any random answer will work. No worries. I mean, uh, any guess or the what do you know about it? As you guys are in the geoinformatics, you guys are learning data science. What do you think? What is AI? How it differentiating machine learning? What is what is the field coming? What is the field coming called reinforcement learning and all? Well, anyone? Okay, so I'll try to cover up from my point of view. See, AI is quite broader term. Okay, AI is like 30,000 feet view, and you come in the basics. The AI field is getting exactly divided. It is getting into divided in the lot many things. AI was there in the 1950s, but AI require the requirements of AI was not there, or it was not up to the mark in that time. AI required lot many amount of computational power. It required a lot of data. Lot many things are there which was required, which was not developed at that time. Algorithms were not that much fitting. So the things started getting up in the 1980s. Machine learning started beginning. The beginning of machine learning started in the 80s, and in 2012 in the AlexNet won the competition in the deep learning ILPCR competition conference. From that point of view, from that conference, this field came in the existence. And I mean, this field was there, but it came in the more uh, more limelight, you can say, or the hype around this field started taking up, and people started thinking about it. People, I mean, it started lot many it started changing lot many things out there. Okay, so if you see, AI is a quite larger term, and it has a subset called machine learning. So machine learning can predict the things, machine learning can classify the things. Okay, these two basic things machine learning can do. And it has different lot many types of algorithm out there. And in between that, there is one field called deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning. And deep learning is a field where machine is learning something out of, I mean, you have to train something, to the machine, and after at one certain level, machine starts learning by itself. So being a AI engineer or being a data scientist, you have to gather some lot many amount of data, and you have to choose some algorithm and apply on that annotated data. Okay, after applying that algorithm on data, you can see how the algorithm is fitting, what type of losses you are going through, and what are the outcomes of that program. And out of it, you are trying to create some of the things out there, like you're trying to recognize someone's face, or you're trying to predict what is going to be the stock price, what is stock price of Infosys share going to be there on Monday. So that is going to be a stock market forecasting, which is which can be the part of which can be the part of machine learning, data science together. And you're trying to find someone's face, you're trying to recognize someone's face. What you're trying to do, you're trying to match that face with already saved faces you have. So you have a data of say 200 people, and you just have to match. I mean, you just have one new entry, and you just have to match that one entry uh, with the data you have already of 200 people. That's what happening in the computer vision. Okay, well, together AI is not a robotics. Okay, AI and robotics are the quite different thing, but it's somewhere there. AI is coming in every field now, and as the internet revolution happened, the more amount of data came in this due to this revolution, due to 4G technology and all. AI is really started getting up the things out there. Okay, well, uh, I mean, you can see clearly the difference between AI and robot on the slide. Uh, okay, let me, as I already told you that this is the history of AI, how things started getting up in the 90s. I mean, you see, just one more example I would like to give you here. In the 1996, there was a match between AI based computer and human. Okay, and it was the match between world chess champion winner, grandmaster, and in the 1996, AI lost the match. Okay, grandmaster won the match, and next year, guys, all the matches were against grandmaster of that year. Against that year, AI won all the matches. So this much amount of smartness or learning things AI is doing. Okay. Well, you see, if you're talking more about the job opportunities, or how the thing is, what are the things out there in this field, let me just give you a view. Okay, we have a machine learning engineer, we have a data scientist, lot many opportunities are there in this field is quite broader, and it's depend upon the company. So if someone is saying, after completing my bachelor's or after completing my master's, how do I get job in this field? uh, I'll say it's depend upon the company, it's depend upon the organization and their role and responsibilities. I mean, lot many things out there. You can join the company as a junior machine learning engineer. You can join company as a data scientist if you have that much skill set. You can join a company as research assistant as well. It's more or depend upon the company, but all things are fine. But how do I get the job in this field, or what are the skill set I need to develop myself to get the job? Correct. I mean, you have this question. Okay, this is the mostly asked question in my one of forum. I mean, I'm running AI India community, so most of time I see people ask me this question: how do I? I mean, these career opportunities sounds very cool. This sounds very good, and quite tentative, okay? But how do I launch myself in this career opportunity, or what are the skill set I need to develop? So if you guys just go on the Google and just search for the jobs in AI, okay? Jobs in AI, you will see lot many opportunities are there. Okay, let's check on uh, naukri.com. What are the opportunities you will find for the AI developer? Well, you see, data scientist, 4 to 6 years of experience, and okay, and they are asking for some skill set, but we are looking for fresher job, and the data scientist role is there. It's most of people are hiring for that role. But where do I find the job for fresher? And one more puzzle is there, guys. जब आप फ्रेशर होते हो तो आप लोगों को मतलब you will find lot many jobs are there which are there for the experienced people. It's quite hard to find jobs for fresher in the field of data science or in the field of say machine learning. How do I tackle this puzzle, or how do I uh, crack this? Okay, so and on the naukri.com, or you see on the LinkedIn job portal, you will find jobs are there. Okay, jobs are there for the fresher. You will find some jobs which are there for the fresher. If you see salary, experience, and 0 years of experience, if I am going to apply. Okay. Well, software developer, engineer, artificial intelligence jobs are there. But let's see what are the skill set they guys are looking for. Well, I am taking this job at Big Spy Software, and let's see how these guys are. I mean, what are their role and requirement? They're having one opening, and they are looking for someone. A skill set should have a good communication skill, knowledge in AI, qualifications, not that much descriptive. Okay, well, we'll try to find another one. Artificial intelligence, Python, AWS, Hibernate, machine learning, AWS. Okay, we'll see this one. Okay, these guys are asking for the basic knowledge of Python, basic understanding of machine learning and deep learning. Okay, but most of time you will find the jobs where these guys are asking you for the experience of tools like TensorFlow. You must know Keras, you must know PyTorch, and altogether you know these machine learning or say deep learning libraries. Okay, but down the line these guys will not ask you this much skill set or this much stuffs. Okay, they will ask you other than this, do you understand what is Docker, how to deploy your machine learning application on the cloud? Okay, that is one of the one of the most asked question to the freshers. And interviews are gonna ask you how the how to deploy this your model, or how to increase the accuracy of your model. So how to tackle this? In order to tackle, if you're trying for machine learning engineer, uh, in say if you want to tackle this, okay, and you want to join as a machine learning engineer, so these are the roles and responsibilities of machine learning engineer on my slide you see guys now. But I mean, these are the quite wide skill sets and responsibilities of machine learning engineer. It's being in the academia is sometimes quite hard to understand all those terms. How one can tackle this? Okay, so the first suggestion I'll give you, uh, if you want to be the if you want to have a career in this field, try to learn first. Try to learn any programming language. Learn C++, or say learn Python, or go with R. And if you select Python as your primary language, then you need to understand some of the libraries in the Python. You need to, in order to get career in uh, being a, in order to do career in machine as a machine learning engineer, you need to understand Keras, you need to understand PyTorch, TensorFlow, and create as much as projects you can create. Take a help of Kaggle platform, go there, participate in the competition, and try to learn from your old mistakes. Try to learn from the winners how they solve the problem, how they increase the accuracy of their exciting stuffs, how do they use already pre-trained model, and with the help of fine tuning or transfer learning, how they solve these challenges. Make sense to you guys? Are you with me, guys? Is bore ho raha hai? Is it boring? Uh, Anyone would like to?
Maybe
Okay.
they are not allowed to mute themselves. That's why they
Oh,
are not able to.
that's why. Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay. So, sir, we are going on a proper direction, correct?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, uh, being a machine learning engineer, if you are planning to apply as a machine learning engineer, these are the skill sets you see. So if you start with the flow of machine learning project, at the first time you have to understand the architecture of that project. You have to understand the customer requirement. You have to understand the what is outcome of this project at the end, what problem you are trying to solve, and considering that problem, you can design whole stack. You can design the full stack, full architecture of your project. So being a machine learning engineer, first step is you have to draw the architecture. You have to create the architecture of the system, and after that, uh, you set up some of the things out there. You have to do some research around it, and with some research around it, by building some strong foundations, you can start gathering up data sets. After collecting data sets, you can start. I mean, if your data set is balanced one, that's okay. If your data set is already annotated one, say particularly if you're working on vision project, or anything related to text analysis or something like that, more than at the end of the day you say NLP or something like that, you have to see what type of annotation platform you guys are using, what type of data you have, and after annotating that data, after creating a bunch of things out there, you can slowly start picking up appropriate algorithm. Selecting appropriate algorithm is quite hard, and where is the main key being a machine learning engineer for any project, any case? What is the key to have a quite good machine learning project? Any case from the student? I mean, you guys can type in your chat window as well. I can read up there if you are not allowed to message or something like that.
Participant, you can raise your hands. Okay, if you are raising your hands, we will allow you to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Any idea? Any guess? What is the most important parameter to have a good machine learning project, or the success of that project? Well, the success of that project lies in the amount of data, what type of data you have. Okay, say tomorrow if you want to classify dog versus cat stuff. I mean, just on the basis, just for the example, you say you have to classify the different types of objects out there. You have to do object detection in real time. You need the proper amount of data. You need a balanced data, and if you have a good data, machine can learn it very well. Machine can learn it easily. I mean, you don't need to put a lot many amount of efforts. But you know, guys, that doesn't happen in real world. Okay, in real world, you have most of time very bad data, uh, repetitive data. Most of time you have to, most of time of data scientist engineer, you say around 60% of their time goes in the data labeling, data management, or data balancing task. And the success of any AI project, I'll say, is lies in their type of data they have for the training. Okay, and the this is how the if you have the data, and if you pick any type of algorithm, by applying that algorithm on that data set, you can straightforward go ahead with that data, and you can see how the things are working out there. But in between that, you have to select the features. You have to see what are the things are working there, what are the uh, what are the features you have to select, and on what point your machine learning algorithm or your machine learning project is gonna give you output. Make sense? So together, if you see data, features, and algorithms, if you have three of those things, that field become data science. You have a good amount of data, and you have a quite good features out there, and you are having set of all those three things there. It becomes machine learning. You have just data and features. I mean, you are just selecting some features or some classes out there. It become the data science. And in the earlier decade, the data mining was there, or it was quite one of hot field. So they people, or they guys were used to, have a quite good amount of data, and with selecting the proper or suitable algorithm, they were used to get insights from that data. But you see, more data they have, more algorithm they have, and by applying some intelligence, machines started become learning all those things by their own. So this is how, things are at different scale. And you see the classical machine learning thing. Guys, are you aware of this classical machine learning, or should I cover this part in a short? Vidya ma'am, are these guys aware of this classical machine learning part?
Actually, many students are undergraduate students,
Uh-huh.
are participants from outside SI Symbiosis,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some students are there from Symbiosis. They are familiar with the machine learning.
Okay, okay. So how many of participants here are out of the symbiosis? I mean, non-symbiosis people. Anyone? You can just raise your hand, or you can type in your chat box. Okay, five. Oh, quite good number. Oh, number is rising. Okay, so this classical machine learning, how the things happen on the classical machine learning part. I'll just try to, briefly cover this part as much easier I can do. Well, in the classical machine learning algorithm people, if data is pre-categorized, or you say it's quite, balanced or already annotated, already labeled, then it goes in the team of supervised learning algorithms. And if that data is not labeled, that data is too much crappy, then it goes in the team of unsupervised learning algorithms. You see, in the supervised learning algorithm, they are having two teams. One is to predict the category, one is to predict the numbers. So if you have say data of different uh, cities, and you have to predict when what will be the temperature of Pune tomorrow around 2 a.m., and you have 10 years back data of Pune, what would you use? That goes in the regression algorithms. I mean, that is about regression algorithms. You have say data of Pune city of last 10 years, and you just have to, I mean, predict when will be the next uh, when will be the next winter session will be coming, what will be the what should be the exact date. You can apply some regression algorithms and you can get a result out of it. That much smart machine learning is. And say if you have to classify, okay, you have uh, I mean lot many things out there, and you just have to classify out of it. Say you have 100 different types of 100 types of objects are there, or 100 different types of things are there, and you have to classify them. How will you classify? You have to categorize them, you have to classify them on the basis of their some similar characteristics, and those characteristics we call them as parameters or as the classes, and that goes in the classification algorithms. I mean, there are different types of algorithms you can see. I have this picture where you guys can imagine what type of algorithm you can have. For classification, you have SVM, decision trees, logistic regression, Navy bias, KNN, and for to if you want to forecast something, whatever project is related to numbers, okay, that goes in the category of regression algorithms. You have to predict something, or you have any type of tabular data, that data in the form of tables, data in the form of Excel sheets, that all goes for regression algorithms, and data which is there for the uh, that data that is there with the classes, that it goes with the different types of algorithm called SVM, KNN. You guys can see this picture in the broader term, okay, and all well. Now coming back to the how to find the opportunities in this field. Finding the new opportunities is quite hard in the initial level, as I already mentioned. But guys, it is not that much a hard game, or you see that much impossible type of stuff. People, some of the freshers are there, they are already cracking those interviews for machine learning engineer, data scientist, and they are getting paid by some super salaries. So one of my suggestion would be to prepare yourself, participate in Kaggle competition, host your project on GitHub, share it with different types of platform, uh, share it on your social media channels. If you are on Facebook, LinkedIn, share your projects. What are the things you learn out there on those platforms? So someone is finding for new talent like you guys, they can reach out to you. That could be one my suggestion. And I mean, we have a lot to cover, but since we are having less amount of time today here, I'll straight away go on the what are the recent trends in AI, and instead of going into too much details in the trends of AI, I'll just cover two, or say one case study, which is quite booming, which is quite booming tech industry nowadays, and that is Open AI Codex. Okay, how many of you know the Elon Musk company OpenAI? Anyone know? Have you heard that they guys are doing research on open artificial intelligence, and it's not to profit company? Anyone know? Okay, so Open AI is one of Elon Musk venture, and they guys are doing research on different artificial intelligence algorithms. They are doing this by considering that they are doing all those things on not to profit basis, and they have developed this very cool tool called OpenAI Codex. And in this I mean, with the help of this tool, you don't need to write too much amount of big programs. How many of you are using GitHub already there? Anyone using GitHub? Okay, anyone? Okay. So on the GitHub, you start, you start writing your code. You can, just get the suggestion of next line. Okay. Suppose you have some thoughts out there, you have some ideas, and you want to code for that. Okay. OpenAI can do it. You just write out your thoughts in text format and go in the OpenAI Codex compiler and ID environment, I can say, and you just run with those things, and OpenAI Codex platform will generate code for your that stuff. Makes sense to you? Are you? Yes, sir. Are you guys getting what I'm trying to convey you, or should I show you demo directly? Okay, let me show you how OpenAI Codex is working. I am using OpenAI Codex from last few days, and the experience of using OpenAI Codex is, quite different level. Okay, you don't need to code much things out there. I mean, what are the codes I learn in my engineering or while working in the industry, they are there. But in order to develop any type of new machine learning project or any deep learning project, you require very less amount of time, and you don't need to write all those codes by yourself. Okay, it is just suggesting you new line, like in the Gmail. You open a message, you write email to someone, and on the while writing your email, it suggests you the next few word, or it suggests you the next line. Okay, they are using natural language processing, and that's how these guys are using that same technology to replicate your coding experience. Okay, can you see my screen, sir?
Yes,
Rajesh,
sir.
sir?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. Okay. So you see how it's working. Okay. Uh, Add this image of a rocket ship. Oh my God, what is it? You see, he has just written a one line, make it smallish, and that already happened. So these types of trends are happening in the industry, guys. Things are changing completely different, at completely next level. Okay, even development environment is changing at uh, at next level. I mean, earlier things were very much complex. You have to understand the syntax, you have to understand the logic behind it, but now that much amount of things are not required. So you just write something, whatever thoughts you have, and you're getting code. How's it? I mean, did you like it, guys? Uh, you can type something in chat box. Yeah. Okay, you can raise your hand as well. How's it? And would you like to learn it? Would you like to use this tool? Okay. Well, I mean, just two people are interested to use this tool in the upcoming time. Not bad. Okay, two. Well, this is the one of thing which just before 2 or 3 months back it was launched, and this is changing the game of IT industry typically. Okay, things were very much different in the earlier time, and thing will be completely different, or thing will be on the completely next manner in the upcoming time. And you don't need to program those things like earlier you were used to do. And now in the our deep learning, I mean, I am working as a in our company, especially in deep learning stuff. uh, we are using lot many pre-trained model. Okay, we are not using models by our own self. So earlier thing was that we will, I mean, we have to gather a lot much amount of data, and after collecting data, annotation team were used to annotate it. After annotating it, data scientists were used to check what type of data is data is correct, is it balanced one or imbalanced one. And after that, whole the team were used to work on the settling up the different parameters, selecting appropriate algorithm. After selecting all those things, model got trained, and model is giving you 65% of accuracy. How to increase that 65% of accuracy to the next level? How to improve the performance of that model? How to make it robust one, and how to make it more real world impactful? Those were the challenges. But now you will find most of the models are available already there. Most of the models are patent there, and you just have to buy those models, and you can use in your machine learning environment, or you can use them in your deep learning model. So you just have to write a bunch amount of code. That model file is already there. uh, you might be having Wi-Fi or different types of weight files out there. You just have to mention it somewhere in your code, and you can easily access those models, and you can check how it's happening in the how what type of result it is giving in the real world. But moving forward, guys, whatever model you have, whatever type of problem you are facing nowadays, you don't need to do all those basic type of thing that much. Lot many new innovations are coming there day by day. uh, you can fine tune that model. You can use transfer learning. You can use even one shot learning. Earlier thing was that you use 5,000 images, you use 10,000 images, and on the top of that you train your model, do all the procedure, take all the required precautions. But now you just give one single image, and you get your patent model. I mean, you get your classifier ready. I have one POC which we did for one of electronics company, and we just got four images from their side, and they were required to classify which one is not faulty IC, and which one is the perfect working. So out of it, just okay, you can see my screen. I'm just trying to present you one picture. We guys just got 4 to 5 images of these types of assembly lines from one of electronic company, and they were expecting that out of these they are having one camera mount on the top of their assembly line, and we just need to find out what are the improper ICs, what who are having improper sockets, where things are not proper soldered, and where things are scratched down. But we did it. We did that POC with the help of 4 to 5 images, and we don't need that much amount of data. So well, I mean, the intention of mine is to cover all those things, is to give you seal of recent trends in artificial intelligence. What are the things are happening here in this field? Okay. Let me just in the last 3 to 4 minutes, let me just show you some of the AI tools out there, and how you can use those tools uh, in your day-to-day life. Where are those tools? Let me figure out. Artificial intelligence. Okay. I think am I missing those tools slide? Cool applications of AI. Okay. So on the application side, guys, you see the AI, I mean, the list of applications AI has, or what are the things AI can do. Okay. Well, let me cover first tool. Okay. Uh, First tool is MyHeritage. This is tool by MyHeritage, Deep Nostalgia. They guys are converting your old black and white picture into colored one with the help of AI. Okay. And you can see any type of your picture. Say if you have your black and white picture, okay, like this, you can see. Chetan sir, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, I think we have opened the wrong link. Okay, let me open the Deep Oldify one. Okay, so you can, take any of your 19, I mean, not your, of course, take any black and white picture of your grandparents and convert that black and white picture into colored format in real time. Okay, would you like to see how it works? See, uh, you just upload your old black and white picture, and that black and white picture can be easily converted with the help of this deep learning tool. These guys are using GAN in the backend. Okay, we are having very less time today, otherwise I would have been shown you how GAN works, how to do it uh, with the help of how to control AI in order to maintain data privacy. I'll come up on the questions after covering this part. Okay. Well, this site is still getting loaded. Okay, we have one another cool AI tool. You just have to upload your one picture, and you will get animated photo. Okay, you will be having moving photo of that picture. So this tool came in the market before, say, around 6 months back, and this is one of cool AI application. These guys are using deep learning CNN algorithms to get these types of effect. So they are having at earlier stage. It's quite fascinating to use these types of tools. Well, you just upload any of your picture, and you will see how you can change that one into the moving one. Before 7 month or say 8 month, when this tool came in the existence, people started uploading different types of pictures out there, and I saw one movie where they guys were having the photo of Lokmanya Tilak, Shivaji Maharaj, and Savarkar, Mahatma Phule, and all those were, Chandrasekhar and Bhagat Singh, and all those great people. They uploaded their pictures here, and they got a real time impression how they were, how they were used to look, or something like that. Okay, this is one of tool which you can use for the converting your old pictures into the moving one. Well, you read the description. A company specializing in video enhancement using deep learning. Okay, so enhancement is all about goes into the team of computer vision, moreover. Well, after using this cool application, we'll go for the de-oldify. Well, that site is still loading. Looks okay. You can just upload your one of picture, and you can see how that picture can be converted into the colored one. Okay, it's taking, it's quite unusual that this site is taking this much time to load. We'll come to this at the end. Well, this one startup, they guys are using AI to create a soundtrack. Okay, they guys are using real time, they guys are creating real time music with the help of their deep learning based algorithm. We just now saw about the MyHeritage. De-oldify is there, colorize and restore photos and videos, bringing into colored one. you might guys, you might know about the Grammarly. You use that tool for uh, to check your grammar mistakes and all. You might be using about it. And the one of cool tool is OpenAI, which already I shared with you guys how they guys are doing it. Well, is it loading? Okay, it's taking quite unusual time. I'll share link of this tool in chat box. You can check this one. You can check this one later on. And with this, I would like to move on for the questions of this session. Questions are welcome. Feel free to ask your queries, doubts. Over to you, sir. Dhumal sir.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Sir, actually, there are two questions in chat box. How to
Mhm.
control AI in order to maintain data privacy on various digital platforms?
Okay, how to control AI in order to maintain a data privacy on various digital platforms. So AI can be used out there, but your question is more from the data privacy point of view. Okay, and AI can be used there, but for what reason you want to use it? For to control just data privacy? I mean, if you just want to control the data privacy, you can use some smarter tool. You can use open source tools like Mozilla Firefox. Mozilla Firefox, they are having various range of data privacy tools. And I mean, in order to just control privacy, AI is AI is used today in cyber, in order to make their safety and security of different sites. AI has been used in the cyber security and I mean ethical hacking. In ethical hacking, they guys are also using AI. Next question is that which are the good open source software for labeling the objects present in the image data? Okay, for image data, lot many softwares are there, but good one out of it I am using right now. This one, let me just Google it for you. I am just missing the name of that software. Labeling image. Okay, we are using label imaging. Yeah, guys, we are using label IMG, and that software we are using on quite. We are having customized version of this software. Uh, Open source software are sometimes not that much, not that much customized or not that much mature. But we are using version of this software, Open Image and Open IMG, and we did a lot many customization, lot many modification in this software, and we are using for our internal work nowadays. Yeah. Any other question would you like to ask? Well, by the way, this one was good question. 2000 zeros. I mean DSA. I don't know your name, but good question. Any other question you would like to ask here, guys?
Students, you can ask questions.
Feel free to ask questions. I mean, whatever question, any question you have, any random question will also work. I'll try to give you answer from my best of knowledge. Well, two people are looking to ask the question. Ma'am, can you please unmute them?
We have unmuted, sir.
Acha.
Students, you are unmuted. You can ask the questions.
Guys, feel free to ask me question here. Some people just raise a hand. And
Yeah, participants, if you have any question, put it in the chat box.
Yeah, you can put them in chat box as well, and I can unmute as well. You just say hi in the chat box. I can unmute, and you feel free to ask your question. Okay, ask to unmute. MTech G and ST asked to unmute. Sir, how do I unmute her?
I already unmuted him, sir.
Okay, there is one person, MTech G and ST. In the last 018 numbers there. Might be your own number or something like that. Okay.
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 Okay, you can type in chat box as well. No worries. We are already getting late, so you feel free to share your question on. I mean, you can message me your questions on LinkedIn as well.
Otherwise, we will share your email ID with them.
Yeah, email ID that I can share as well, and I can share my LinkedIn as well. So if anyone wants to connect with me or want to discuss something about this, I mean, more about the opportunities or any doubts from the session, we can cover that one as well. How AI is used in GIS? Oh my God, that is quite interesting question, and I'll say, uh, I mean, AI. This is quite bigger question, okay, guys, and this is going to take quite more time, but I'll try to cover up in the short. Okay, nowadays GIS is very exploring. Okay, due to SpaceX and all the upcoming things are coming, upcoming projects coming in this GIS field. Lot many things are happening in this domain. Okay, and in the GIS, AI is used to predict the different types of things. AI is been has been used in predict to in order to classify different types of classes. Where is the land? Where is the river? Where is the water? Where is the greenery? I mean, you take any type of satellite images, you apply some machine learning algorithm over it, and get some result out of it. So that is quite basic one, okay? But things started in Elon Musk and their companies. I mean, SpaceX and NASA. They guys are jointly, doing different types of research activities, and they are using computer vision, they are using machine learning in order to get a real time scenarios, which are quite impossible to uh, quite hard to get from the normal without AI. Okay, and if you are too much, if you are asking from the too much point of view of GIS plus AI, data cleansing in accepting utility networks, interpretation, utility drawings. Well, I think I'm on the wrong one. You mean GIS? Okay. You mean geospatial, correct?
I think again we have one more interesting question. What is
Okay.
the hardest challenge in AI?
Hardest challenge in AI. Hardest challenge in AI. Okay. Hardest challenge might be finding the for me it's finding a proper amount of data. Okay, uh, find the balanced data. It was used to be an earlier challenge, but challenge as in such, yeah, there is a challenge in terms of computational power. You required for in order to train a deep learning model, or in order to have a machine learning model in the real time, you have a strong computational power challenge, and that challenge people are trying to solve with the help of GPUs. Nvidia are having lot many GPUs, and they are trying to tackle this problem. So challenges you see in the terms of computational power is there, in the terms of data is there. I see these types of challenges from my point of view. Sir, okay, for computational challenges, we have GPU and TPU. Well, we have GPUs and TPUs, but some of the things are there which are quite complex to deal with. So there, you just take a series of GPUs or TPUs, still you're not able to create that much amount of computational power. Well, that challenge is there.
Okay. So thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Over to you, Pallavi ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Students, if you have any questions or any queries, you can ask to the Mr. Neeraj through their email ID, or you can connect to him with his LinkedIn profile.
And I am
Yeah.
sharing my LinkedIn profile in the chat window. I would love to connect with you guys on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect there and ask your doubts, your feel free to share your suggestion ideas.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request Dr. Rajesh Dhumal to deliver vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pallavi ma'am. Respected Director, sir, Deputy Director, madam, faculty members, staff, and dear participants. On behalf of Symbiosis Institute of Geoinformatics, I would like to thank today's speaker, Mr. Neeraj Lunawat, for accepting our invitation and exploring the recent trends in artificial intelligence and the career opportunities. Definitely, this session is beneficial to our students. I'm very much thankful to Dr. T.P. Singh, sir, Director SIG, for constant motivation and support. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to all faculty members from different parts of country for encouraging their students to participate in this particular event. I also extend my thanks to all participants for your active participation. I'm sure that this webinar will give you valuable input for choosing the right path to your bright future. Last but not least, I would like to thank to all faculty members, staff of SIG, and I request all participants to give your valuable feedback. We will share the link with you through email. So with this, I declare that this session is over. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much, sir, for giving this opportunity, and have a good time. Yeah, bye-bye.